because there's so many
Yeah,
similarities. in
don't
life.
worry.
Yeah.
There's too many. We get it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I've always traveled with train loads, plane loads, bus loads of tourists.
Doesn't mean you're not still really alone.
I never failed to make an intimate connection with someone at my parties.
Yes, the youngest young girl. I was on the veranda this afternoon when the latest of these young ladies gave a demonstration of how lonely the intimate connection has always been for you. The episode in the cold and humid hotel room, Mr. Shannon, for which you despised the lady almost as much as you despise yourself. No, Mr. Shannon, don't kid yourself that you have ever traveled with someone. You've always traveled alone except for your spook, as you call it. He's your traveling companion. Nothing. Nobody has ever traveled with you.
Thank you for your sympathy, Mrs. Jones.
You're welcome, Mr. Shannon.
Yes. Well, the conversation is over. I think I'll go down for a swim now.
To China?
No, not to China. Just to the island out there with the sleep bar on it called the Cantina Serena.
What?
Because I'm not a nice drunk, and I was about to ask you a not so nice question.
Ask it. There's no set limits of questions here tonight.
And we'll set limits on answers.
None that I can think of between you and me, Mr. Shannon.
That I will take you up on.
Do?
Okay. The question is this. Have you never in your life had any kind of love life? I mean, I thought you said there was no limit to set on questions.
Would you mind repeating the question?
Have you never had in all of your life, your travels, any experience, any encounter with what Larry, the crackpot Shannon, thinks of as a love life?
There are worse things than chastity, Mr. Shannon.
Yeah, lunacy and death are both a little worse, maybe. But chastity isn't a thing at a beautiful woman or attractive man falls into like a booby trap or an overgrown gopher hole, is it?
Yes. Yes. I've had two experiences, encounters.
Two, did you say?
Yes, two. The second experience is much more recent. Only 2 years ago, when Nono and I were operating at the Raffles Hotel in Singapore. We met this middle-aged, sort of nondescript Australian salesman, you know, plump, bald spot, with a bad attempt at speaking with an upper-class accent, and terribly overly friendly. He was alone, and he looked lonely. The Aussie salesman asked me out in a Santa with him, and I accepted. I did. I accepted. And he looked intensely, passionately into my eyes, and he said to me, "Miss Jelks, will you do me a favor? Will you do something for me? If I turn my back the other way, will you take off some piece of your clothes and let me just hold it? Just hold it."
Fantastic. And what did you do? I mean, in a situation like that.
I gratified his request. I did. and he kept his promise. He did keep his back turned while I, like I said, and threw him the piece of my clothing.
What did he do with it?
Didn't move, except to seize the article he'd requested, and I looked the other way while he sat
that experience, you call that,
A love experience? Yes, I do. I call it one.
that sad and dirty little episode?
A
You
sad
call
it
it,
may have been for the odd little man, but why do you call it dirty?
how did you feel when you went into your bedroom?
Confused. A little confused, I suppose, and I'd known loneliness, but not to the degree or the depth that.
Did it disgust you?
Nothing human disgusts me, Mr. Shannon, unless it's unkind and violent. And I told you how gentle he was, apologetic, shy, and really very well delicate about it. However, I do grant you that it was rather on the fantastic level.
You're
What am I? Fantastic? What's that for? Are you about to strangle me, Mr. Shannon?
stand in touch.
Save it for the widow, it's not for me.
Yes, you're right. I mean, I could do it with Mrs. Falk, the inconsolable widow, but couldn't do it with you.
Spinsters lost widow's gain, Mr. Shannon.
Or widow's lost spinster's game. Anyhow, it sounds like some old parlor game in Virginia or Nantucket Island parlor, but I wonder something.
What do you wonder?
If we couldn't travel together, I mean just travel together,
Could we, in your opinion?
why not? I don't see why not.
I think the impracticality of that idea will appear much clearer to you in the morning, Mr. Shannon. Mornings can always be counted on to bring us back to a more realistic level. Good night, Mr. Shannon. I have to pack before I get too tired.
Don't leave me out here just yet.
I have to pack now so I can get up at daybreak and take my sketches to the plaza.
You won't sell a watercolor or a sketch in that blazing hot plaza tomorrow. Michelle, honey, I don't think you're operating on the realistic level.
Would I be if I thought we could travel together?
I still don't see why we couldn't.
Mr. Shannon, you're not willing to travel with anybody. Or anywhere. Is that so cruel of me?
Meaning that I'm stuck here for good? Winding up with the inconsolable widow?
We'll all wind up with something or with someone, and if it's someone, if it's something, well, we're lucky, but perhaps unusually lucky. Oh, and tomorrow,
What about tomorrow?
I think it might be better tomorrow if we avoid showing any particular interest in each other, because Mrs. Falks is a morbidly jealous woman.
Is she?
Yes, she seems to have misunderstood our sympathetic interest in each other. So I think it'd be better if we avoid any more long talks from the veranda. I mean, till she's thoroughly reassured, it might be better if we just say good night and good morning to each other.
No, we don't even have to say that.
I will, but you don't have to answer.
How about wall tappings between us by way of communication? You know, like convicts in separate cells communicate with each other by tapping on the walls of the cell? One tap, I'm here. 2 taps, are you there? 3 taps, yes, I am. 4 taps, that's good. We're together. Christ. You know, here, take this. All right, take my gold cross and hockey, all right? It's 22 karat gold.
What are you?
You know, there's a fine amethyst in it, all right? It'll pay your travel expenses back to the States.
Mr. Shannon, you're not making any sense at all now.
Well, neither are you, Mrs. Jones. Talking about tomorrow and...
All I was saying was...
You won't be here tomorrow. Have you forgotten that you won't be here tomorrow?
Yes. I had forgotten.
wants you out, and you'll go. Even if you sell your watercolors like hotcakes to the parish dog in the plaza.
I suppose you're right, Mr. Shannon. I must be too tired. I've contracted your fever. I should actually, but it's slipped my mind.
Listen, if you don't take this gold cross that I never want on me again, I'm going to pitch it off the veranda at that spook in the
All right,
rainforest.
Mr. Shannon, I'll take it. I'll hold it for you.
Pocket, honey. You got it.
Well, if I do, I'll mail the pawn ticket to you so you can redeem it. 'Cause you'll want it again when you've got out of your fever.
That is in your cell. Pass it.
I did. I'm sorry. I've never been so tired in all my life.
They both are very already grounded, it seems to me, in those characters, quite a bit. They seem to really fit you. There's a great sense of relaxation in what you're doing, individually and interactively. Can't quite get all the words.
I know. I realize I'm really soft right now. I'll work on it.
Why? What do you
I-
think? What do you think? I'm not, I'm just really.
No, I know. I think when I can find a character, especially Hannah, who's so apologetic and very quiet, it takes me a while to translate that to putting it on stage. I'm not on breath right now, basically.
You know what?
I'm not on breath. I'm not on breath right now when I'm doing this. So I need to work on it.
You're not on breath.
And I know that. So yeah.
Well, are you saying that when you rehearse, you don't need to be on breath?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that's where I am right now, and I was aware of it.
But I'm interested, yeah, because you're so good. So I'm interested in why aren't you? In other words, I'm interested, I'm not criticizing you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm interested in why that's second or third. Why would that be second or third as opposed to first?
Right.
Why? What do you think?
I think I always get really focused on figuring out what the character's thinking, and then I kind of just forget that I should be thinking about my voice too.
Gotcha. But how do you think about what the character's thinking?
I mean, it gets.
Because I think that's very good. We all want to. I think we all think about what the character's thinking.
Right.
That's called analysis.
Right.
How do we analyze what the character is thinking? How do we do that?
Well,
Don't we do it through the words?
mm-hmm. And you have to hear the words.
So if we do it through the words,
Mm-hmm.
I guess we could mumble and do it. When we mumble, we're also thinking while we're mumbling. But maybe when we actually do it on the words, and the idea will come to us even more if we get the sounds of those words, that the idea will be, even if we don't know what it is, we have to trust that maybe it's not just, I don't want to commit my breath yet until I understand.
Right.
There is a way, there are a lot of actors that work that way, by the way. I've worked with many of them who work that way, who won't even commit a choice in rehearsal until they intellectually understand everything. And those actors kind of are very difficult for me to work with personally, and for other actors. I remember working on Tennessee Williams's world premiere production of A Lovely Sunday in Creve Coeur. I had Maureen Stapleton, I had Shirley Knight, I had Ann Baxter in the first rehearsal. Ann Baxter, that she decided she wasn't going to do it, and I had Shirley Knight, and she she worked that way. She would just in rehearsal do nothing. And the other actors came to me in rehearsal and said, help, 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 help. What do we do? And at that time, I don't think I handled it very well. I didn't know what to do. I figured, you know, and Tennessee kept saying, I went to Tennessee. I said, Tennessee, it's a problem. I think, he said, yeah, but my boy, Shirley Knight's got all the cookies. He used to say, when somebody has all the cookies, that means she was the name that he was using in that show to sell. Because she at that time was, Shirley Knight has all the cookies. So he can't remove her, because it was getting that bad. I wanted to get somebody else. No, my boy, she's got all the cookies. Well, opening night, she comes on like gangbusters and steals the show. And all the other actors go, and they're left holding the bag. They don't know what to play. She's up there, she's got voice, she's got the articulation, she's got everything. She had it all the time. She wasn't gonna, it was selfish. And the others were pissed off. But she was brilliant. She did the same thing. I'm sorry, she did the same thing with a number of shows she was in. Actors told me that's how she did it. She did it down at the Public Theater. She did it when she did Robert Patrick's play, that play about the rest of. She was brilliant, but not in rehearsal unless somebody called her out for it. And I didn't have the strength to do that. And I kicked myself because it burned me. I should have. So you weren't doing that, by the way. You gave me a lot of choices and Dan, I could hear most of what you were saying. But I think if you think of they love their own spit, these characters. They're not just they love talk. That's part of the character. They love words. Not Tennessee. The characters. Williams, of course, but his characters love to talk and say these phrases. So when you say, I'm trying to find out, that is what she is. And if you think about that, it's in each of those characters. They use language to fence. They're fencing. Carefully fencing, hitting those little nudge-dinkies. You know, he particularly enjoys it. You know, what's the word that's going to, what's going to get her to, So, and she is fencing in a way. She's saying, "You're very interesting, but only so far." And she's using words to do that rather than not. So the sounds of those words do that. When he physically finally touches her, which was a nice moment, but I wonder, I'm not saying this is, I question about it only because, did he want to shock her, or did he want to do it gently, knowing it would shock her if he did it gently? I mean, this was kind of rough. Is that what he wants to do? It seemed kind of rough. Maybe it's right. Maybe he wants to, hey, this is what I think about women. You want this, don't you? Here. I wasn't sure.
I think, this is like 14 pages long of some of the beautiful language ever written. And she reads him on one thing, and that's when he says, swim to China. Because he's contemplating suicide.
Right.
Because he wants to go out and swim in the ocean with sharks and don't kill him, because he's the end of his rope. And she got him, and that has to knock him for a loop. That she got him. Because he's so flip and he's so cool with women. It was a great role for you, but there's a moment, and all of a sudden the thing is, at a certain point you're desperate to keep her. This may be your salvation, and this may be your, but we don't know. We don't
Yeah,
know. We make choices. But the thing is, you did some really beautiful, you really made her feminine and ladylike, because she could be played as a nun. Yeah. But you gotta be very careful with your body language. She will not sit with the legs crossed.
Okay.
She is literally bound up in a very simple suit. I would wear my buns very low,
Okay.
and I would
Not wear this dress.
not that dress.
Well,
No, I have this for streetcar and I didn't.
but this is very important. That was for streetcar?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can see how important having the right dress is.
Yes,
Exactly.
It makes you, I mean, if you show your legs, you feel that. You can't hide legs that are shown. So it affects your whole body language.
And just one little hint that may technically help you, when you're telling the story about the man in the sandbag, you know,
Yeah.
to hide what, the embarrassment of telling the story, use the word, tell the story so beautifully. Hide behind the words, explain it, and maybe take out your, I don't know, but, yeah, words. These are some of the beautiful words, the most beautiful words, 14 pages, something like that. It's a huge scene, right? It goes on and on and on and on. It's gorgeous language. The language will do it for you.
Okay. Vince, quickly?
Okay, the sensualness of the scene, particularly you, Dan, right? It doesn't, what's your purpose? What is the purpose of all your, the beginnings of your dialogue?
I mean, the way I saw it is that, you know, he is interested in her a little bit, and,
A little bit?
well, a lot, right,
And that's what's coming off. It looks like a little bit and it's a lot.
okay.
The point is that from your first line, because you are an intelligent individual, you're playing the end. From your first line, even though she's wrapped up, she could jump on you, but not the way you're doing it. You know she doesn't. So you're not trying to lead with all your lines. They're all sensual to the point that she bites when you say, have you ever been in love? And she jumps at it.
Okay.
So there's a possibility that the scene could end, instead of the 14 pages, after the first. But you're not playing it that way. You're playing it, I have 14 plays, so let me be cool, calm, and collected. And in a sense, every word, you know she's hot and ready. So you're giving her that, you're a catalyst that's giving her the reason. And then you're a little bit surprised about the clothes and everything, and then you probe her even more. Wasn't that
Okay.
disgusting?
Okay.
Anastasia.
And also play it bigger.
Sure everybody gets-
Starbuck. I don't know if you know what Starbuck is.
I'd like to have Tom Crockett, Ainsley, and Noah. Tom? Tom's not here?
Tom's right here, yeah. He's getting ready.
I didn't see him.
He's right here.
Oh, there he is.
Gotta take his time.
And then it's a big one.
Go on.
And then